Okay, so you're here with us on a deep dive because you're looking for that edge, right? That early stage crypto gaming investment that could really take off.
Yeah, we see a lot of interest in this space. It's where the real potential is starting to emerge right at the intersection of, high quality gaming and blockchain.
Yeah, and I think it's that concept of, really putting in the time and effort in a game and having that translate to actual tradable assets. That's what's got everybody excited.
It's not just hype anymore, right? It's about identifying the projects that get both the gameplay and the tokenomics, right?
Exactly.
Uh,
So that's exactly why we're doing this deep dive today
Right.
into Off the Grid and their GONZ token. We've been poring over gameplay videos, their website, all the expert opinions and analysis to try to bring you the most important insights.
yeah, we want to give you what you need to really assess whether this is that promising early stage opportunity you've been looking for.
So right off the bat, what struck me is this isn't your typical crypto game. This is AAA.
Right out of the gate, it's a contender in that space. High quality graphics, we're talking Cyberpunk world building for major platforms.
Yeah.
PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS.
I even saw some chatter about PS5 Pro enhancements.
Oh yeah, they're going all in on this one.
It's a full Battle Royale 2.0 experience, they say.
Yeah.
But it's not just multiplayer. You've got the single-player campaign, a story mode,
Yeah, it's not just about quick matches. They want to draw you into this world.
and the whole thing with cybernetic enhancements and being able to extract and keep the weapons you find. That's got to be engaging.
And you see that appeal reflected in the early adoption numbers. They became the #1 free-to-play game on the Epic Games Store just days after launching early access.
That is huge right away.
Yeah,
That tells you there's a solid base of players who are there for the game itself.
exactly. It's not just hype, it's a fun game. And when you layer in the blockchain elements, that's when it gets really interesting for investors.
So the numbers we've seen are pretty impressive. 14 million unique users, already 2.5 million daily transactions, over 571,000 daily active players. And this is still early.
It's still early access. Think about that. Even if a small percentage of those players engage with the NFT marketplace, that's built-in demand for the GUNZ token.
Right, and it's not just the player numbers. The streaming figures are through the roof, over 3,000 streamers on Twitch alone. It was one of the top 3 most watched games in October, over 2.7 million watch hours.
That's organic marketing at its finest. That kind of buzz builds a community.
Yeah, and the gameplay videos I've seen, the initial reactions are really positive. Some reviewers are comparing it to big names like Call of Duty.
If they can capture that level of engagement and then successfully integrate the blockchain economy, that's a massive advantage for early investors.
So let's talk about the GUNZ token.
Yeah.
What makes it so interesting is that it's not just some side cryptocurrency. It's actually integrated into the core gameplay.
Yeah, you can own in-game items as NFTs, cyberlimbs, weapons, everything, true digital ownership. And you can trade these assets on the GUNZ marketplace and potentially other platforms down the line.
So the GUNZ token has real utility. It's not just for speculation. It powers those NFT trades, the marketplace transactions, even the gas fees on their platform. And then there's the validator NFTs, which we'll get to.
And they've incorporated play-to-earn mechanics in a way that feels natural. It's not just grinding. It's about completing engaging challenges like getting creative kills or winning as a team. You get rewarded in GUNZ for actually playing the game.
Right, and then there's the whole HEX system. You find these loot boxes, you extract them, and you can convert them into tradable NFTs.
So even casual players have a way to earn and own digital assets. That's smart. It lowers the barrier to entry.
And it's important to note that the crypto side of things is optional. If you just want to enjoy the free-to-play Battle Royale experience, you can.
Exactly. They're casting a wide net.
So for an investor, accessibility is key. And we've seen some major developments on that front with the recent exchange listings.
The Binance listing is obviously huge. That's the biggest exchange in the world. It was their 66th launch pool project, so that's a stamp of approval.
Right, and that's going to bring in a whole new wave of investors. But it's interesting that they were listed on BitGet first, back in March, in their innovation and GameFi zone.
The GUNZ USDT pair went live on March 31st, 2025.
Platforms like BitGet often run promotions around new listings, too. They had a candy bomb event for new depositors.
Yeah, those early listings are a good sign. They build momentum and make it easier for a wider range of investors to get involved.
So beyond the gameplay and the token utility, the team and the community are crucial factors for long-term success. And Gunzilla Games is an established studio. They've got experience in the industry, which adds a layer of credibility.
Yeah, that matters in this space. Their marketing has clearly been effective too. Look at the player numbers.
And all those streamers and influencers creating content, that's a sign of organic excitement.
The strong ties with Binance don't hurt either. It adds visibility within the crypto community.
Now let's talk about the market timing. The recent Binance launch has definitely put GUNZ on the map, and that initial limited circulating supply around 6% with 4% in the launch pool. That can create some upward price pressure just because of scarcity.
Right, simple supply and demand. Some analysts were even talking about the potential for a short squeeze. Early profit-taking from Binance launch pool participants could lead to short sellers getting squeezed out, and if those shorts get liquidated, it could push the price higher.
There was talk of potential breakout levels around 5.9 and 6.3 cents that traders were watching.
So for those looking at short-term gains, that's something to keep an eye on.
One analyst we looked at was pretty bullish on GUNZ. He pointed to the initial price stability after the Binance launch and the potential for those short squeezes to fuel further momentum.
But it's important to be balanced here, right?
Yeah.
Another analyst we looked at pointed out that the overall market conditions at the time of the launch weren't ideal for gaming tokens.
That's a good point. And then you have to look at the fully diluted valuation. Our sources put it somewhere between $450 million and $551 million. That's based on the total potential supply of 10 billion GUNZ tokens, which is a lot compared to what's currently circulating.
And that brings us to tokenomics, which any serious investor needs to understand. One analyst raised concerns about how many tokens are allocated to private sales, the team, and the foundation. Nearly 40% to private sales alone.
That's a significant chunk.
Yeah.
And then there's the vesting schedule, which dictates when those tokens are released. That's a key factor to consider.
Absolutely. We saw that there's a big unlock coming at the end of April, potentially representing almost 30% of the current market cap.
And there are more unlocks coming in May and June. Projections show the circulating supply could increase by 2 to 2.5 times the current amount by late 2025.
And then there's a massive unlock in early 2026. So yeah, understanding that unlock schedule is critical for assessing the potential price dynamics down the road.
So while the Binance launch generated a lot of excitement, there are definitely different opinions on whether the timing, considering the broader market and those future unlocks, was optimal.
It underscores the importance of looking beyond just the immediate price action and considering the long-term supply and demand factors.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit and look at the revenue model. How does the GUNZ platform actually sustain itself?
Well, they've got a few revenue streams. Gas fees from transactions within the ecosystem, commissions on NFT trades, in the marketplace fees for opening those HEX loot boxes.
Right, and crucially, subscription models for the game itself.
Yeah, they reported 100,000 subscribers. That's a solid base of paying users, which means a more stable and predictable revenue stream.
It's a good sign for the platform's long-term viability. Okay, lastly, let's touch on those validator NFTs. Briefly, what are they and how do they fit into the ecosystem?
So essentially, these are nodes within the ecosystem.
Right.
They play a role in processing and verifying transactions, specifically around decoding those HEX NFTs for a fee.
Okay, so you can earn GUNZ tokens by owning a validator NFT.
Right. And the validator NFTs themselves are tradable assets. So there's another potential avenue for investors.
All right, so to wrap up this deep dive, off the grid, and the GUNZ token look like a promising early-stage crypto gaming investment opportunity based on what we've seen.
Absolutely. You've got a high-quality game that's attracting a ton of players, strong utility for the GUNZ token through NFTs, and play-to-earn mechanics increasing accessibility through exchange listings and a passionate community.
But we can't stress enough how important it is to be aware of the tokenomics, that fully diluted valuation in the upcoming vesting schedule. Those are things you need to understand as an investor.
It's all about weighing the risks and the rewards.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So here's a thought for you to consider as you do your own research. With AAA gaming and blockchain technology converging, and this idea of true digital asset ownership taking hold, how might that fundamentally change how we think about value and ownership, not just in games, but in the whole digital landscape?
It's a really interesting question to think about.
So we encourage you to dig deeper into Off the Grid. Check out the Gameplay Explorer, their website, and form your own opinion.
The blockchain gaming space is evolving rapidly, and projects like this are the ones to watch.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
See you next time.